It's Memorial Day 2026, and in this episode of Storyteller, a special one for today, I got a couple stories. One's about my uncle Howard, my grandpa's younger brother, and my two grandpas, my grandpa Poole and my grandpa Conard, all three of whom served in the war. Now, I'm not a warmonger, but I'm also not a pacifist. And I really think that people who are pure pacifists, I think they're dumber than a box of rocks, because they don't really look at the world with a sense of reality. They look at the world through the eyes of someone who thinks they see what ought to be as if it really is. And that's not the case. All three of these men I'm going to talk about served in World War II. And World War II was started by a fairly small group of individuals in Europe and in the Pacific who wanted to expand. They had expansionist ideas. They had Hitler and his close-knit group of bullies wanted to expand the territory for Germany. And so they made up ridiculous excuses. They lied. They dressed up Germans in Polish uniforms and attacked a Polish-German radio station, and then said the Polish were attacking the German media. And Hitler used that as an excuse to invade Poland. And this is history. This is not it's not obscure. We know this. And so war generally happens because there's nasty human beings who are just going to come and take your stuff. They're going to rape your wives. They're going to murder your sons. They're going to take your land just because they think they're stronger. The Japanese, I know less about the Japanese, but they had very expansionist, imperialistic ideas, and the United States was in the way. The United States had bases in the Philippines, and those were just things that were inconvenient for the Japanese high command. And so they, surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, killed 2,000 some Americans day one, and launched a very bloody campaign. And so war came about, understand this very clearly, war came about to stop that behavior. Even today, right now here in the spring of 2026, and this is not a political statement of support for the current president or the current administration, but if you think that the war in Iran is a really horrible, horrible thing, I just have one question for you. Have you imagined what the world would be like if Iran had nuclear weapons? Pause for effect. You probably haven't. Can you imagine Tel Aviv at the receiving end of a nuclear ballistic missile from Iran? Imagine New York hit with a terrorist dirty bomb. Okay? So I do not support the killing of human beings across the world, but I do support stopping those who do. This is simply a global scale of bullying. And I believe that should be stopped. And my two grandfathers in World War II and my Grandpa Merle's younger brother, Howard, went to stop this kind of behavior. And Uncle Howard, of the three, Uncle Howard was the only one who gave his life in this effort. Um, During his training, he got tired of ward care. I guess he was trained as a medic. He got tired of ward care at a hospital in Kentucky, and he asked his colonel for an overseas assignment. And so in October of 1944, he was transferred and served in the 12th Army Group under the command of General Omar Bradley, which was pushing toward occupation of Nazi Germany that would end the war. And Howard experienced repeated battles before his death. He passionately wanted to aid wounded soldiers. And after some fierce fighting with Nazi forces near Windhausen, Attendorn, Germany, an all-clear signal was sounded, probably a little premature, and the fun-loving U.S. Army medic, that was my Uncle Howard, was the first to jump to his feet and run toward a fallen U.S. soldier. He had a large red cross on his helmet and one on his chest, but the Germans targeted him anyway. And he was killed on April 6, 1945. That was tragically 32 days before Germany would sign their unconditional surrender. My Uncle Howard was 20 years old. And I thank my Uncle Bill for sharing this story. He posted this short story on Facebook several years ago, and I really appreciated it. In his hometown, a neighbor lady wrote of Uncle Howard this poem. She wrote, "Loving and kind in all your ways, upright and just to the end of your days, sincere and true in your heart and mind, a beautiful memory you left behind." So on this Memorial Day, I remember my Uncle Howard, my grandpa's younger brother, who I never met, and I thank him. And I thank all like him who served, and especially those who gave their lives for the freedom from geopolitical bullying that they helped to secure. God bless them. God bless all of their families. And may God bless America.